Good afternoon. As a final project, I am going to talk about four different tourism attractions in four different English-speaking countries. The Statue of Liberty in New York, the United States. The Niagara Falls in Ontario, Canada. The Big Ben in London, the United Kingdom. And the Sydney Opera House in Australia. Thank you and enjoy. The Statue of Liberty is a national monument. It is a place full of history and amazing sights. It was a gift from the French to the United States. It arrived on a boat in June 17, 1885. The statue is made of copper and it was divided in 300 different parts. They began to put it together and it took then 1 year to build it. They have to build a stand in a small island at the entrance of the port of New York to set the monument in. The Statue of Liberty weighed 154 pounds. The crown has 25 windows where visitors can enjoy the sights of New York. The monument Big Ben. Known as Big Ben, the famous clock of the House of Parliament has become one of the most famous images of London, one of the main symbols of the city. The tower built in 1858 next to the Palace of Westminster is a particular building of 109 meters, built in a Gothic-style house for a huge clock located on its four faces. The truth about Big Ben. Although usually we talk about Big Ben, we refer to the clock tower or the clock of the Parliament building in London. This term is not entirely accurate, as the Big Ben really is a huge bell of 14 tons which is in the tower. A watch with English punctuality. The clock tower, Big Ben, consists of a watch 7 meters in diameter, 7 at each of the faces of the tower, which was launched in 1859. Today it has become a symbol of the nation and the most famous clock in the world. This is one of the most reliable watches in the world, as it is able to withstand elements as the elements in the weather as snow and hard winds. It also supported German bombing during World War II, keeping intact its punctuality. The Niagara Falls, Ontario. Niagara Falls, Ontario is located across the river from Niagara Falls, New York, with the Great Waterfall located between these two cities. The Canadian side has the best views of Niagara Falls and very different than the United States side. Niagara Falls, Ontario is much more commercialized and tourism oriented than New York side of the falls. On the Canadian side, you can see the waterfall in a beautiful park which is maintained with beautiful gardens. But beyond that, the hills are covered with high-raised hotels, casinos, numerous of tourist attractions too. The streets are filled with museums, souvenir shops, amusement arcades, restaurants, nightclubs, attractions of all kinds. If you do not mind all this commercialism, Niagara Falls, Ontario offers many more things to see and to do than Niagara Falls in New York. Considering the border, the most important border point being Niagara Falls, New York, and Ontario is the Rainbow Bridge, which spanned the Niagara River Gorge a few hundred meters from the falls. The main attraction, of course, obviously, is the wonderful waterfall, and the view from the Canadian side is supernatural. There is a rocky expansion next to the falls, served as a wonderful observation deck with panoramic views of the Cascade, Horseshoe, and other smaller American Falls views. This rocky ledge, hundreds of feet wide and a mile long, has been transformed into a beautiful Victory Park. There are many tourist attractions around the falls, as we mentioned before, as casinos, museums. There is a marine art theater, amusement parks, entertainment also. The Opera House in Sydney. Big cheers for one of the most exciting and innovative buildings of the modern era. The Opera House in Sydney, the main forum for the performing arts in Sydney. Nothing compares to attending a performance here for a special night. See 1,600 performances a year, including symphony, concerts, ballets, operas, theater, dance, music, comedy, children's shows, and contemporary performances. The Opera House of Sydney is one of the centers for the most creative and busiest performing art. The Australian Ballet Company, the Sydney Dance Company, and the Australian Opera Company are just one of the companies that regularly occur here. Do one of the daily tours and discover the stories, history, and magic of the building, while enjoying the extraordinary interiors surrounding some of the most splendid theaters and forums. Spend a day in this World Heritage and be amazed with the life, culture, and activity bursting under its seals.